Half Sword is a game about beating the crap out of a bald guy named Willie in a painstakingly crafted physics simulation. It's also a showcase of 13th century armor and weapons with keen attention to detail. Incredibly, it's also only an early prototype of what's to come. As Half Sword approaches early access release and excitement builds for the future of the game, I felt an impulse to document its history in various early versions and releases. This game is a passion project and it shows even in the earliest builds, so I wanted to take some time and appreciate and catalog its development. To the best of my ability, I've collected and reviewed every available version of Half Sword. However, there are builds of the game that never reached the public internet or have simply been lost. Thankfully, Half Sword creator Frank has documented a lot of his process on his Twitter page, and some discussion of early builds can be found on the community Discord server. This appears to be the earliest footage of a Half Sword prototype from September 2021. The camera style is isometric like Exanima, another physics-based fighting game and a potential inspiration. It's very rough around the edges, but the gameplay loop appears to be surprisingly intact. There is something very charming about the early build characters. I like their low poly faces. Physics, movement, and combat systems got more advanced throughout 2022, leading to the first playable version released on itch.io. I can only find reference to the earliest public version of Half Sword in this comment on the itch.io page, which has a reply from the Half Sword team confirming its existence. I couldn't find any footage of it, but I'm sure it exists out there somewhere. There are 3 distinct early versions I was able to access through itch.io and by scouring the community Discord server. The first one we'll cover is the earliest developed playable version, Half Sword Dungeon. It's only accessible as either a sort of Easter egg by climbing this hill on the snowy map, or digging through the Discord server until you find a link to the file. This version has a very distinct look from the others because it lacks a fully modeled Willy like every other playable version. The swordplay is clunky, but it's actually very fun, and I had some engaging moments in my playthrough, like when I was getting my ass handed to me and some NPCs labeled Ally came to help me. It only takes 5 or 10 minutes to beat the demo, and it's by far the most linear of any version. However, it's impressive how well the control scheme and certain mechanics like picking up and dropping weapons and armor match up to what we see in modern versions. I was also astonished to discover that it's fully playable in first person, with even more stability than the modern playtest, in my opinion at least. I've got a playthrough on my channel if you're interested in seeing the whole thing. Moving forward, we have the 2 itch.io versions. One is the demo available on itch.io right now, and the other is a slightly earlier version I was able to find. The earlier version is pretty bare bones, lacking even a settings screen. You have the choice between the snowy map or the arena, and can only fight one-on-one with random weapons and armor. The modern itch.io version has more features, including a 3rd map hull and graphics and gameplay settings. The most important difference is the scenario customization. You have the choice of the 3 maps, 5 different game modes including a team Burherd with friendly NPCs, and cutting test, where the enemies don't fight back when you stab them in the nuts. You can also select the weapons and armor that you, your allies, and your enemies are equipped with. This is arguably even more customization than we have in the modern playtest. Overall, the itch.io version lays a solid foundation for what we could expect moving forward, and I'm appreciative that we still have public access to it even though the game has come so far. The Abyss, version 0.3. This demo, released in October 2023, was my introduction to Half Sword, and I have very fond memories of learning the controls and seeing how far I could get. Unfortunately, this version is outdated and no longer publicly available. It's been archived, so it's possible to pirate, but it would be a violation of my journalistic integrity to suggest such a thing. It plays like a roguelike, and it's very similar to the modern Abyss. You get random weapons and armor from the map and off dead enemies, starting with shovels and linen shirts and working your way up to polearms and full sets of armor. You're assigned a point score on the death screen, although I'm not certain which metric the score measures exactly. There's a boss fight every 1,000 points, increasing in difficulty until the final boss, which is a naked Willy with a ton of health for some reason. I remember there also being a regular final boss in a big suit of armor, maybe in a slightly different version of the demo. The atmosphere is unique. There's something very creepy about being hunted down by your doppelgangers in the dark. The lack of a ceiling gives it a dreamlike quality, like the space you're in is impossibly large. This version also introduced one of my personal favorite features, camera mode, which I made liberal use of. The physics and gore system works slightly differently in this version, and it feels a little clunky and unpolished, but it's simply fun, and was able to stand alone as its own game for a long time because of it. In July 2024, the first version of the playtest we're familiar with was released. There's no gauntlet yet, just a selection of different armor levels like the modern free mode. Most importantly, there was no blood yet, as the version was developed in preparation for the 2024 Tokyo Game Show. As the creator of Half-Sword put it has no blood and gore cause kids gonna see it. Many features we have today are missing from this earliest release of the playtest, such as kicking, slowing down time, and group fights. There were major differences in the feel of the gameplay between the demo and the early playtest, and I remember it being a rough transition, especially because the Abyss demo was still available to play on Steam alongside the playtest. However, over many updates, the gameplay has been honed so that it feels more natural and solid than the demo ever did, at least in my opinion. In November 2024, the major update that added blood and gore, kicking, and many other key features was released. And in April 2025, the Abyss version was combined with the playtest in the same update that added Gauntlet mode. Which brings us to the modern day. Early access release is scheduled for Q1 2026, early next year, which is really exciting. Going through these early builds just makes me wonder even more what a full team will be able to do with this concept and physics system. Anyways, thanks for watching this video. I hope you'll join me again sometime soon when there's more to discuss about Half-Sword. See ya.